I know what you're thinking right now. If I could just stop this habit of over worrying about symptoms, over worrying about what's going to come up in the future, over worrying about things I did or didn't do from the past, if I could just stop over worrying, I could live my life free from anxiety. Well, today I want to dive deep into 3 points that I want you to consider in order to stop worrying for good. Let's dive in. Welcome to another important video, my friends. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And if you want to learn more about any of my recovery programs, click right here. As we dive into a topic that is, it's absolutely huge, right? Because over worrying is one of those things that tends to fuel a dysregulated nervous system, tends to fuel anxiety, tends to be the fuel unconsciously more often for panic attacks. And over worrying tends to be like this thing that, because we've done it for so many years, because we've been so well acquainted with this pattern, this habit, we tend to feel a little bit vulnerable when we stop over worrying about something, because then we feel like, well, something could go wrong. And quite often, this is the inner protector playing its normal tricks on you. It wants to maintain the same mental habits of overworrying, the same emotional yo-yo patterns that kind of you've been living over these however many years, the same behavioral, unconscious behavioral habits that keep you trying to keep things under control and certain. So we are, in essence, living our lives based on what the inner protector is saying we should do and how we should be. But today I want to dive deep into a couple of points in terms of overworrying, and I really hope you watch this video until the end, because these points are crucial for you to start applying in order for that overworrying habit to subside and therefore the anxiety to subside. First point is that we must spot the inner protector. We must spot the inner protector. Notice when that voice kicks in with what if worries to keep you safe. So instead of allowing the what ifs, instead of allowing the inner protector to tell you something through the mind, or to imagine something through the mind, through some kind of mental imagery, and you taking that thought or image seriously and therefore paying close attention to it, therefore your emotions rising, being emotionally invested in that initial idea. Instead of all that, let us spot the inner protector. Let us say, this is the inner protector at work. Because if you look at all your past experiences, how many times has the voice of the inner protector actually been fact? Not many. Therefore, we must look back and start to question some of these ideas, these thought patterns, these ways of the inner protector. So you simply going, that's the inner protector. Just doing that creates just enough space between the voice of the inner protector and your recognition of it in order for you not to become emotionally invested in the idea. Does that make sense? Because it's not the thought. Let's get this clear. It's not the idea, it's not the thought that's causing all this anxiety. It's the emotional investment behind the thought that's causing the anxiety. Point number 2 is I want you to step into the witness. Okay, I want you to live through the witness. Stepping into the witness means to shift from being inside the storm to quietly watching it pass. With anxiety, we want things to happen very quickly, okay? We have a bad thought, and that thought needs to disappear as quickly as it arrived, right? And that's the kind of world we live in now, but nature doesn't work that way. So if we can just no longer live from the perspective of the inner protector, but instead live from the perspective of the witness, then it's kind of like us going through the day going, well, I've got pain in my body. And it ends there, right? There's no emotional investment. There's no making this snowball bigger than what it needs to be. Or I've got discomfort in the body. Or I've got a thought that just appeared in my mind. Or I've got this unconscious need to react to this situation. Or I've got this suppressed anger or suppressed fear. So you are now the witness rather than the reactor, okay? And in terms of imagery, I like to think of this kind of like a security camera. You are like the security camera looking in at the aspects of anxiety, right? You are not the aspects of anxiety. You are the security camera looking in on it. And does this take practice? Yes. Does it take discipline? Yes. I want you to stick to these points because what tends to happen with anxiety is that when we feel like we're not getting the desired result, we move on to the next thing. Oh, maybe this technique will work. Maybe that modality will work. Maybe I need another audiobook. Maybe I need to listen to, 10 YouTube videos a day. Well, not necessarily. All you need to do is stay consistent with these points, right? Third point is I want you to practice steady presence. This goes hand in hand with number 2. Practice steady presence. Sit behind the protector and experience the moment without chasing emotional highs or avoiding emotional lows. As you go through the day, you're always trying to manipulate things to fit with your need for control. And as long as everything on the outside world and everything on the inside world is according to how you want them to be, then you feel like you can function throughout the day just well enough to get through it, right? This is so common. But instead of trying to organize your outside world and organize your inside world, I want you to practice steady presence in the presence of those things that you used to feel like you needed to control, if that makes sense. So we no longer have to chase emotional highs. I'm doing so well. Oh, this thing is working for me. This could be the very thing that can work for me. No, that's another emotional trick by the inner protector. It wants you to pull you into highs or lows, saying, I'm just not getting better. Is this the rest of my life, right? Or the lows. So as you can see, the protector loves when you live in this emotional yo-yo going up and down, up and down, up and down, right? But when you practice steady presence, for a while it's going to feel like you're not doing anything. But in truth, you're actually rewiring your brain, right? This is the secret behind neuroplasticity. This is it right here. There is no secret to it. This is it. So another analogy would be like the cafe culture in Europe. People go and sit outside the cafe, they have their drink, and they people watch. Or they watch things going on around them, the environment, or they converse about things that are happening, right? That's similar to you. You are sitting outside the cafe, you're having your tea, and you're watching all these thoughts go by. And you're watching the environment around you. And it's not like this is good and that is bad, or this I need to stop and that I need to start. That's not it. You are the watcher. You are the presence behind everything that's going on. So take that analogy with you, and I promise you guys, practice, because When you leave that place of emotional highs and lows, that is true healing. I promise you, that is the key. And as long as you stick to these points, along with the points in my other videos and my podcasts, you are going to get there. Remember that you are more than anxiety. I'll see you in the next video. And again, if you want to learn more about any of my programs, click here. Let's get started today. Bye-bye.